Hello, I'm Darth31, and just to make sure you realise there are spoilers, big ones for episodes 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, and most specifically, 90. Let's get into this. This episode confirmed, confused, and a little bit of contradiction. But today we're going to be going over three things, I love the number 3 apparently, that I found very interesting about this episode, so let's go. The Oni... They're gone. Where have they gone? Where have the Oni gone? They are not in the first round from what we can tell, or at least they're not in that stronghold. Now the implication was that they'd gone from the first round. Now this was very interesting to me because it was said that the Iron Baron went in there with a few of his troops and came back and he used it to control the rest of them. The Iron Baron is turning out to be a very, very interesting character, and I was wondering how they were going to do him, but wow, it's getting better and better and better each episode. The other thing, aside of this though, is that we learned Mystake's, well, we learned that she is indeed an Oni. Now, there is some things that confused me about her, and it's obviously that this was a later decision when they put her in that flashback. Because when she first sees Garmadon, when he goes for the tea, she seems almost scared of him. And if she was an Oni, she probably wouldn't be too afraid of him. Generally, because I think what we've seen with Mystake is that she's a bit cocky, and I think that's why she's like that. Is because she's a destructive god kind of thing, you know, I use that term loosely. But where did the Oni go? And this is probably something that I'm going to have to make a follow-up video on. I hope that they explain it to us. And really the only thing we have to go on now is that either the dragons killed them all, which I doubt very much so, or they either left the realm. We know Mystake turned on a few of them, and I'm assuming that's how there's an Oni temple in Ninjago. I'm assuming that they created the Oni temple. But I think they all died, probably. I think Mystake would have killed them. Yeah, she seems to be a bit... she has a few screws loose. I think we didn't really get to see that side of her before. But I love the parallel here that she is, well, she's dangerous. Number 2, we haven't seen what they Oni look like. And this is probably the weirdest thing so far. There are 2 sides to this as well. 1, we don't know who the Dragon Hunters are, and 2, we haven't seen an Oni. Now, I made a thing, like, back at the beginning, where I thought maybe, just maybe, the Dragon Hunters are just so insane they've forgotten who they are, and they are the Oni. Because from what we could tell, that it's called the Realm of the Oni and the Dragons. What are these guys, and where'd they come from? Something, and now with this development, this is a camp that's been set up, and probably quite recently, too. The Iron Baron, and all this, and their fear of the Oni. Something is missing here. There's a link that's not been shown to us, given to us, or even slightly explained, and I'm very curious indeed as to who these guys are, and we just don't know yet. And finally, the third thing, this video's going to be lightning quick. Garmadon and what he saw in the Departed Realm. Now, the Departed Realm is something I think we all took as a bit of a grain of salt when it was revealed. I mean, the Underworld, the Cursed Realm, and now the Departed Realm. So many different realms for the dead, am I right? Or the Cursed. And we just knew that at some point it was going to get covered. I mean, they introduced it, they're going to go there, or they're going to learn about it. But I never expected it to happen like this. In fact, when the first realm came out, as in episode 77, and we learnt about it, I thought, wait, so they're not going to bother with the Departed Realm? Oh, okay, we're just going to go to the source of everything, the big one, because that's usually how it works. What's shaping up to be now is that, no, we're going to the big one, we're going to get some mysteries set up, and we're going to see what the future brings. Like, as in a thing of, we go to the ninja go and explore the past, and then they realize what's happening, that's coming in the future. And that would be the final bit of Ninjago, is that we have, I guess, some evil that Garmadon saw that scared even him. Now, first thing I need to debunk something that I think is... Okay, alright, I'm not going to say debunk, but Overlord? No. Please, just, let's not get that in our heads, alright? Let's not do this again. It's not the Overlord. He wasn't afraid of the Overlord, and if it was the Overlord, he would have outright said it was the Overlord. If it is the Overlord, I'm going to be really disappointed, because okay, if the Overlord had been revealed at this point, okay, and this evil turns out to be the Overlord, but in a time where he was never in Season 2, it would work. But the way that I think it's set up is that there's something big coming. Garmadon's scared of it, and this is Garmadon at pure evil. Now, another thing is it's quite mixed here, and skewed, is that we don't know exactly what Garmadon saw. Like, exactly which Garmadon. Like, was it him fully with both sides, or was it something that just the evil Garmadon saw as he was leaving? Because when Chen, when Samukai, when all of they came back, they didn't really seem too scared. They were just back, so I'm assuming they were just back, and they just were happy to be back, but they weren't afraid, they weren't worried. Considering that Garmadon's demise was around the same time as Morrow's, and he came back just as happy as he was when he died, we can assume that maybe Garmadon got special treatment because he was an Oni and a dragon in the first realm. So, the question then becomes, what did he see, and when will we get to know about it? If the leaks about the sets being re-released are true, then I don't think it's coming up next. And if it's so evil, so void of any hope, and is complete darkness, which is what we were expecting the Overlord to be, and what I personally felt towards Garmadon when the series started, we are probably going to notice when it shows up in leaked images, in sets, whatever. It's going to be quite a big feature. So, yeah, this episode was very interesting. From the Oni stuff to the Dragon Hunter stuff, which perhaps my original theory was correct on them, and they're just completely nuts. They're the Oni, though. Maybe. Who knows? And, of course, Garmadon, and now his Daughter of Darkness, Harumi, which is something that I didn't touch on this, but I'm actually surprisingly okay with it, as it's like a mix between the pilot and the Season 1 Garmadons, which I think is a decent, I guess, a compromise for what they decided to go with. Of course, I would prefer just click pilot Garmadon, but yeah. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.